So, pretty sure this stream will go fairly well. I don't really know what we're gonna open with. Mike, Mr. Money Mike Madness here first as usual. How you doing, brother? Shooter, we're gonna get into that in a second. I didn't play the song I gave you because I thought that was just for wins. A lot of ranting incoming, I guess. We'll see. What's up, Genetic Prodigy? Wade Boggs, I like that name. Clip, my moderator here as well. Christian, how you doing? Yeah, I don't know. What are we going to start the chat off with? What are we going to start off? We can start with Marcelo Mayer getting a buzz cut? Maybe we should start with that, chat. Maybe that's the breaking news we're talking about this morning or this afternoon. This evening? I don't know. Somewhere in between there. This is the important news we need to focus on. This is it right here. This is it. Marcelo with a buzz cut. Roman Anthony cut it for him. That's the big news in Red Sox Nation today. Obviously. Of course. Of course it is. No, but seriously, I mean, Black Eagle, thank you for your reoccurring membership. Let's see how many months you've been on here. Oh, I think I'm just getting everyone who did it. Thank you to everyone who did it. I appreciate you all. A sad day for Red Sox fans. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a good one. What's up, Peter? Sure, nothing else happened today. No. Yeah, biggest news we've seen. Biggest news we've seen is Marcelo Mayer getting a buzz cut. I know someone named Trip. Anthony gifted 1 membership. Create some claps to chat for Anthony. Thank you so much, Anthony. John Graham, welcome to the Red Seats. A Red Seat membership, I should say. I appreciate you. What an awful look. I honestly, it's all business, Meyer. It's all business, Meyer. What's up, Anthony? Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Sure, nothing else happened today. Break glass for Pareles. If Daniel Bard was good enough to be brought up from high A, Pareles is better than Bard. I don't know. I think I would wait a little bit. I'm waiting a little bit because there are options in front of Pareles, right? You go Richard Fitz, you go Wilkman Gonzalez, you go Nick Sandlin. You've got options. I'm more bummed out about Grissom. I can't bear Valdez at second. I could bear the difference is shooters. It's the extent of the injuries, right? And one of the things that I tried to sort of make clear, but I don't think I made clear enough, is that he's not officially going to get a surgery today. Or that wasn't announced, right? If that is announced, we'll make an entirely separate video talking about it. But what up, little tab? But man, it's just it's not great right now in Red Sox Nation, that's for sure. The difference between Giolito and Grissom is that Grissom will be back soon. And yeah, Reyes will probably be the starter. You might see Valdez mixed in a little bit. I think it kind of feels like Grissom will be out for a kind of significant amount of time. I wouldn't say like months, but I think a couple of weeks we're going to be missing Grissom from everything that's sort of mixed in here. Grissom down. Who replaced second base spot? It's Reyes and Valdez. Who would have been the ace? Bay or Giolito? Probably. I mean, I don't really... Neither of them would be the ace. There's not an ace on the Red Sox. We went over this last time, but the Red Sox didn't need an ace. They needed a number 1. The irony of trading injured Sale for a workhorse to get injured and the Sale return just to get injured is the most Red Sox thing ever. Yeah, especially recently. It feels like just a sick, cruel joke. What's up, Austin? Despite what happened with the Red Sox, still a fan no matter what, even though they could be a little tough. Yeah, certainly has its ups and downs, Austin, for sure. Today is one of those downs, 100%. I've been thinking about this a lot, basically since it's happened. I mean, it's the only thing I've been thinking about, basically, aside from Marcelo Mayer getting a buzz cut. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many levels to this. What do you mean, Chris Cooper? Cooper Criswell is my ace? Yeah, true. What's up, Laser? Yeah, so there's just too many. There's just so many levels to this Lucas Giolito thing, because it affects quite literally the entire Red Sox plan going into spring training, and it also affects the entirety of their plans with the rest of free agency. And I'm in the mindset, I know I've seen a lot. Monty won't sign for 2 years. What's up, Madden? I know I know a lot of people have been saying that I know a lot of people have been saying that it essentially decimates the chances of the Red Sox signing Jordan Montgomery, and I think to some degree that makes sense, right? Just from a standpoint of were hesitant to sign him before. Now, because Giolito's out, there's less reason for John Henry to open up his checkbook. And to me, that makes sense, but I'm also in the mindset of, if they were going to sign Jordan Montgomery, it was never going to be a short-term option, right? It was never going to be one of those deals like Chapman or Bellinger got, where it was a 3-year deal with an option every single year, because that's just flat out not what Jordan Montgomery wanted, and it's not what the Red Sox wanted either, right? Both of them are in their mindset of, if we're going to sign someone, it's going to be for the long term, and Jordan Montgomery's sitting there saying, if I'm going to sign somewhere, it's going to be for long term. Now, I'm not talking 7, 8, 9, 10 years, but 3, 4, 5 years is sort of what I'm thinking in terms of where the Red Sox would have been at and where Jordan Montgomery would have been at. So while this injury, like I said in my video, right, this injury, especially with Scott Boras as your agent, is certainly going to raise the price, because now Boras is sitting there like, okay, first, we didn't have a ton of leverage now, right? We didn't have a ton of leverage because, our market really wasn't that big. Now we do have leverage. So you were asking for $20 million, and maybe we would have settled eventually, but now we're saying 25, right? That's sort of my line of thinking in terms of how this affects the Jordan Montgomery negotiations. But I also, again, if the Red Sox were planning on signing Jordan Montgomery, it was never going to be a 2-3 year contract. So they were never going to be signing Jordan Montgomery to just help this team, right? And I think that's sort of the assumption, is that the idea was, we're going to sign Jordan Montgomery to help the 2024 Red Sox, when in actuality, it would almost be a residual effect of really trying to help the 2025, 2026 Red Sox. And so the way I look at it, when we're looking at how it affects Jordan Montgomery, it kind of doesn't, right? The only thing it does is increase the price. And at least from a Red Sox standpoint, it doesn't. It does increase the price. And to me, that's what scares me, because, right, John Henry was hesitant to put out the money before. Now, with another injury to another pitcher that you gave money to, what are you going to do in terms of giving out the money then? Shooter, I don't really know. I don't really know if it would take him, obviously I think it would take him a little bit. I think it would take him a little bit to ramp up. Right, but I don't know if it would miss an entire month to ramp up. I think right now, Scott Boras, in all fairness, does have some of the best training facilities in terms of agency. So he's down in Florida doing his spring training ramp up. They obviously want him to, get into the system, get their things going. But I don't think it would take like 2 months for him to get ready. Yeah. That's the way Mike, he comes back. we're not even going to talk about it, Shooter. Your rants in your videos show how a lot of Red Sox Nation probably feels during the hard moments. Yeah, I hope so, because I feel like an idiot talking to the mic like that. Thanks, I appreciate it, Austin. Let's give Monty 3 with 2 options again. Yeah, it's just not. He's not going to do that kind of deal. And if he does, it'll be with the Rangers or the Phillies. Barring an injury, I'll be pissed if Martin and Kenley are here by the deadline. Listen, I said this in my video, right? Or maybe I didn't even say it in my video. I kind of blacked out and just turned on the camera and blacked out, basically. But I think even without Giolito, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, the floor is definitely lower without Giolito, but I think the ceiling's about the same, which is a wild card contender. And I think if you're at the trade deadline and you're in contention, you decide to sell off everybody because of one singular player going down, that's an absurd way to look about the season. So I don't think that's, chance. I understand the kind of, we got to sell, someone got injured, you know what I mean? But that's just, it's not how a major league team works. And again, Giolito, when you look at the actual injury itself, it's not just Giolito going down, it's the residual effects Giolito going down has, because Gio, in some degree, took pressure off of guys like Bayo, Crawford, Houck or Whitlock or whoever the hell gets in there to sort of be able to ramp themselves up on their own, because you knew you were going to get a ton of innings and a ton of starts from Giolito. And so with him going down, all of that turns itself around. And now you're expecting guys like Bayo and Crawford to go from, okay, Bayo was pitching 157 innings last year. Now we need him to pitch 170 innings, except this time we need him to do it like he did in the first half of 23, not when he got burnt out in the second half. That's a big ask. And then you do the same thing with Cutter Crawford, only this time it's, okay, hey, you were able to go averaging about 5 innings per start. We need you to get an extra inning per every start you start, and you're going to need at some point here for you to get into 7th, 8th innings. That is a lot to ask of these young players. And the other residual effect it's going to have, and in my opinion, maybe even the bigger effect here, is that you are going to be having to take, instead of just right now, 2 of the 3 or 1 of the 3 of Whitlock, Houck, Winkowski out of the bullpen. You now have to bring in 2. So what you're left with essentially is less innings from your starters right now, right? Obviously things could change, and a less deep bullpen. You've got more innings coming out of your bullpen with less depth, and less innings coming out of your rotation with less depth as well. And that's not a good combination. That, to me, is the biggest problem losing Lucas Giolito. It was never that you lost your ace. It was never that you lost your number one. It's that you've now put your entire pitching staff in a really interesting situation. My opinion on Bauer doesn't change with this, just so we get that clear. Gio was going to have a comeback here. I totally agree. He looked really good. Duran is hurt? No, Duran's not hurt. He stretched out. Yeah, he had some soreness in his ankle. He got it stretched out after the game. He's good to go. No problem. He'll be back in Thursday. Is Bartolo Colon available? I bet he could still pitch. Rich Hill? Yeah, maybe. Mata's injured. I already talked about Houck and Whitlock. Pivetta, I don't really count into this, because Pivetta, is going to give you innings, right? He's always been able to do that. He was able to do that in 21, 22, and in 2023, regardless of his role, he gave you innings, right? So I'm not worried about Pivetta. I think even if we get 2022, 2021, I think 2021, 2022 Pivetta, where he's just a back end guy, right? He's something super special. I think he could be more. But even if we get that, we know we're getting innings. And to me, that's the most important part of all of this. So I'm not worried about Pivetta in this. Who I am worried about is Bayo, because now Bayo's going to need to give you 170 quality innings when he tired out at 157 last year. And Cutter Crawford, who's going to now need to be your number 2 pitcher, essentially, right? Unless you want to put Nick Pivetta. So those are the guys I'm worried about. What's up, QB? Enjoy work, my friend. Hope you're feeling better, by the way. Yeah, Patrick. He's 1,000% picking it up. I guess it depends on whether or not he'll actually need surgery, but we don't know anyone is going to give us innings. Next thing we know, we'll have to amputate his arm. Yeah. Trade for Cease. The price tag on Cease was too high to begin with, and now that they have leverage, it'll be astronomical. I don't think a trade is going to work at this point, because the Red Sox aren't going to be willing to part with prospects. So you got to find a way to spend money, right? because anyone, Luzardo, anyone in the Mariners, even the lower end guys, their prices just went through the roof. Why would you be nice and help the Red Sox out right here? No team in Major League Baseball is going to do that. So I don't think a trade's the answer to this. With or without Giolito, I would still trade Kenley and Martin. Yeah, Chance, I don't know, man. I could kind of understand Kenley. I just, I there's a path for this team to compete this year. And so I think for me, if your payroll's already low enough, even if you trade Kenley, it's not like you're going to get anything crazy out of him. We already know that the Red Sox, the only way they're trading him is if someone takes their entire salary. So what are you going to get back for Kenley that's legitimately going to be worth it, right? Unless you wait to the deadline. You're not going to get a pitching prospect that's going to do anything for you if you trade Kenley right now. It's just not going to happen, right? And I think that's why he hasn't been traded. I think they realized, hey, we don't want to eat any of this money. We don't want to keep eating money to give guys away. So it's just not worth trading Kenley Jansen because his value on the market right now it isn't what it should be. And a lot of it's due to the injuries he had over the past couple of years. What bullpen arms are available? I think adding bullpen arms is easier than finding legit pitchers. It could be, but there's really not. He's really not. It's not super deep. Just tuned in. What have we been talking about? Just the Lucas Giolito. What about trade Kenley for a low-end starter, then trade a low-end prospect for a low-end starter? Yeah, again, you're not getting a low-end starter for Kenley Jansen. If they somehow decide to get another starter that's still on the market, there are other options, including Montgomery. They really should partially consider doing that. Yeah, they should more than partially do it. I honestly don't know, Dookie. I personally don't want either of those guys on my team. Do you think the Red Sox go after Snell? I'd be shocked. What's up, Dennis? Yeah, that's what your rotation looks like right now, Nate. Do you think Jansen will retire in Boston? I have no idea. Yeah, prices everywhere went up, Tony. Does the Lucas Giolito news make Monty signing a must? I don't know. I think it feels like a must, right? It does. It feels like an absolute must. And not even just to compete this year, but just because. But then you sit here and you say to yourself, but we need, you need innings, you need starts. That's why you brought in. Right? That's why you brought in Lucas Giolito, and look what happened. So, it feels like a must, especially with this over the next couple of years, too. And the other thing is that signing Montgomery, and we've talked about this before, but it's not just building for 24, right? It's not just, hey, we're going to make this team competitive now. It's like it's unrealistic to expect the Red Sox. And if the Red Sox are expecting this, it's really dumb, to be honest with you. If they're sitting there and they're saying, okay, in 2025, there's a good crop of free agent pitchers. Marcelo, Kyle Teal, and Roman Anthony will hopefully be ready to go. So if all goes according to plan, we'll just sign 3 guys on the open market next year. How likely, realistically, is it? We saw how competitive the starting pitching market was this year. There's a lot more names on the open market next year. Realistically, how likely is it they're able to get 3 legit guys into this rotation, or even 2 legit guys into this rotation in 2025, right? You gotta, if you're gonna go for a championship team in a certain window, you gotta keep building and building to get to that team. Citing Jordan Montgomery does that for you. It also just so happens to really, really help you this year and hopefully push you faster to your goal than you'd want to be, which is ideally what you want, right? Because if you're Craig Breslow, you're sitting there being like, okay, realistically, we want to compete in 2026. We want to be a legitimate competitor in 2026. But hey, wouldn't it be great if along the way we happened into a 2021 situation? The only real way to get there at this point is to either have immaculate steps, literal Andrew Bailey magic, right? That's essentially what you need to have happen. Andrew Bailey would need to come in here and perform magic on this rotation, or You sign Jordan Montgomery and you have someone in place for 2026 so you can build off of with Bayo, with Crawford, and with either Houck, Pivetta, whoever the hell else ends up sticking in this rotation, which just makes so much sense. I don't think so, Tracy. No. Kenley, the Dodger, pay a chunk of the contract. Yarbrough and a prospect back. Patrick, that's not happening. And they don't want to. They aren't gonna take any contract. Pick Sicto Sanchez. How old is Monty this year? I think he's 32 or 31, somewhere in there. This year has definitely become a pushover for ownership, so they can get older guys on expiring contracts out the book, reset sort of year. Next year with the young core. Yeah, but even if you get to this young core that you're talking about, and 75 wins feels kind of like their floor, Jesse, and I'll get into that in a second. Yeah, Lorenzen's still available. Someone asked about Jarren Duran. It's fine. What I don't get is the offense is not bad, is well built, young plus upcoming core. Should be bolstering this rotation any chance we get. That's exactly my thought process. Yes. How do I think Cooper Criswell will do? I have no idea, man. I hope he doesn't make any starts. Realistically, I really hope not. I don't think gotta stop the Montgomery talk is the right way to think about it, Chance, because again, right, if you are signing Montgomery, you're not signing him to a 2 or 3 year deal, you're signing him to a 4 or 5 year deal. So it would have to be, what's up, Salty? Lorenzen signing does nothing for you. It's innings, right? You need to get innings. Somehow, some way you need to get innings, and it's already sort of been proven that if you put Whitlock in the rotation, you're probably not getting a ton of innings. It's already an assumption that you're not going to get a ton of innings from Winkowski because this is his first year back into the rotation. You just need innings. So Lorenzen does do something. Yes. Yeah, Duran's fine. But here's the problem, Keith, right? It's 0-0 right now, and when you look at this offense, there's a ton of potential. I will die on this hill. The Red Sox, if everything goes well, and I know we as Red Sox fans, especially today, it's hard to sit here and say, well, some things are going to go right, but some things do go right. We saw it last year. Wasn't enough things to go right last year, but it's 0-0 right now, and if if most things go in the way of the Red Sox this season, by the end of 2024, I will die on this hill. They will be a competitive team. And you might sit there and say, Corbin, you're a moron. But we could break it all down, to be honest with you, especially from the offensive side of things. Who do I think will back up first base? Probably CJ Cron. Matt Backpack's back. I think he went to the Nationals. And I get your point, Robbie. I do get your point with the hesitation, right? But not everyone on your team can be 24 years old. At some point, you got to do it. Not in this division. Here's the problem with not in this division, right? You say that the Yankees were projected 97 wins last year. They finished, what, 4 games better than you? Right? So we sit here every year. We say, not in this division. Third place in this division's in the wild card spot. You don't need to jump up to first or second to make the playoffs. You just need to go first or fifth to third. Yeah, Jesse, that's fine. You can sit there and think that, but you break it down, and I think the mindset of baseball fans is that you got to be at the top of your division to get into the playoffs, and that's just not true anymore with the new postseason outlook. You just need to be better. You just need to be towards the top in the entire AL, right? It's not just about the AL East anymore. It's about the AL, because realistically, this team isn't going to win the division. We know that, right? Even if projections are off and the Orioles end up winning 92 games instead of 100 and the Yankees end up winning 90 games instead of 100, well, 86 could still be third place, and 86 could be enough to get you into postseason. It's just there's a huge difference in what it takes to get into a postseason than it did 2 years ago. And I think that's what we got to keep in mind here is that you're just not, you know what I mean? It's not the same conversation here. Does Refsnyder still have a place on this team with CJ Cron? Yeah, absolutely. He might not have a place on this team with. He might not have a place on this team with, say, Don Rafaela if he continues, though. Yeah, I agree, Joseph. Those are really good signs. Yeah, Clip. But the problem with the rotation, and there's a big difference right now between the ifs in the lineup and the ifs in the rotation. We've talked about this before, but the ifs in the lineup, there are what? Probably 7 or 8. You don't need all of them to go right. You just need a majority of them to go right? So you have 7 ifs. If 4 of them, okay, so your ifs are if Massa can continue to develop and his fatigue issues go away. Tristan's kind of an if, I guess. Right? Duran's an if, for sure. Can he repeat that? I think Story's obviously a big if. O'Neal's obviously a big if. Grissom at some point whenever he comes back is an if. All right, so that's 8, right? If you have 5 of those go right, you're in a really good spot. Now, there are some that obviously way more than others, but if you have 5 of those 8 that go right, you're in a good spot. The difference in the rotation is that you have 5 ifs at 5 places, right? You need all of them to go right. And that's the problem, right? Because when you had Giolito, if one of them didn't go right, okay, great, you got the depth. Now with Giolito out, all of them have to go right. You need whoever wins the 5th spot needs to be a legitimate 5th starter this year. You need Cutter to step up. You need Bayo to take like 2 steps up. And you need Pivetta to take a step up as well. That's 5 ifs that all need to happen, and that's the problem right there. It's fine to have ifs on a team, but you need to have some area of your team where you have the ability for those ifs to go wrong, right? Because every year, ifs are going to go wrong. Question marks are going to go wrong, and we've seen it over the last 2 years. The idea is, 1, obviously more of your ifs go right, but 2, if an if does go wrong, you've got something in place to get, to balance that out somewhere. And even if in the rotation you have 3 of these question marks go right, say Bayo is a legitimate, he becomes a top 20 pitcher in the game. Cutter steps it up. He's got the best fastball in baseball. And Pivetta gives you a ton of innings and has a mid-4 ERA. Okay, great. Those are 3 ifs that go right. But every 3 days, you're trying out 2 ifs that didn't go right. And that's the problem right there. And no chance. People aren't really laughing at us. People are just kind of confused why. People are just kind of confused, 1, why ownership isn't doing what they're doing, and 2, why Red Sox fans think this team is terrible. Would I like Drew Pomeranz? God, no. DeCasas changes swing? No, he's just ramping up, man. I wouldn't look too much into it. Yeah, Jesse, that's fine, but everyone said that last year, and you were competitive up until the deadline where you didn't get anything, right? And everyone said, oh, the Yankees are totally going to blow everyone out of the water last year, and they finished 4 spots above us, 4 games above us, right? So you could sit there and you could say, oh, projections are telling us this, projections are telling us that. 0-0 right now. So to say the season's over, we're going to be non-competitive right now is... I mean, it's impossible to, it's just opinion, right? There's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, Chance. And you're not wrong, Chance. Yes. That's 100% right. The teams that win are the ones who pay to get rid of the what-ifs. But even on winning teams, right? The difference between us and the Dodgers is obviously their what-ifs are completely different, right? What if Yamamoto has a 3-3 instead of a 2-2? What if Shohei Ohtani doesn't hit 40 home runs, he hits 25, right? Those are entirely different ifs than the Red Sox ifs. And that's to me is the difference, right? It's about Every team has ifs. It's about figuring out the best way to manage those and the best solutions if those ifs were to go the wrong way. And obviously there's severity of ifs as well. Anyone unexpected surprised you so far this spring training? Yeah. Nick's my eye on this entire season because I think he's going to be called up at some point as sort of a utility type guy. And Ceddanne Rafaela, I didn't think he'd be able to adjust the way he's adjusted in terms of swing decisions so far early this spring. I'm going to put a video out tomorrow talking about it. But he's really impressed me. He's really impressed everyone. It's kind of a cop-out answer, but yeah, those two in my opinion are really impressive. Yeah, it would be Bayo Tracy, but the Red Sox don't have a Duran's not injured. No, Duran is not injured. Do I think the Red Sox have a better rotation than the Rays? I don't think on paper the Red Sox have a better rotation than anybody right now, at least in the AL East. I think right now they have the 24th projected rotation in baseball according to Fangraphs. I think that's where it is, at least in terms of projected WAR. Yeah, not great, right? Not great. That's what I'm talking about, right? It's the floor is much lower now because Giolito's injured. Has anyone signed JD? No one signed JD. Yankees were 4 games ahead, and they played pretty good the last month to do that. Yeah, exactly, right? And they were supposed to dominate this league, but injuries happen, poor performances happen, right? The Blue Jays strength is their pitching staff, and they could be really good. They also didn't really do a whole lot this winter to supplement it, right? They didn't do a ton. You know, the Rays lost Tyler Glasnow, Shane McClanahan, and Wander Franco this offseason, essentially. Hope Gio's injury isn't too bad. Yeah, he's probably out for the year, man. Do we need any other pitching right now? Of course we need pitching. It's spring chance. I'm not too worried about it. If he does it the entire spring, then maybe he starts the year in AAA, and then we start Ceddanne Rafaela at the big leagues. Yeah, it's not super. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like terrified about it yet. If he does it all spring, it's a different conversation. But he's had 20 plate appearances. I think the Red Sox go after Lorenzen. Yeah, Lorenzen to me. Because, again, you just need innings at this point, right? You need to minimize those what-ifs. And Story's been fine this spring, too. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, Lorenzen helps minimize those ifs, right? Lorenzen's not going to give you Giolito potential production. He's not going to give you Montgomery potential production, but he is going to be able to make, hopefully, right, 20 starts somewhere in that rotation. You get some help, I guess. Yeah, true. Robbie, true. Yes, 1,000%, Russ. Chris. Do I think Willier and Ceddanne are battling for the same spot? No, because I think Ceddanne's more center field than he is right field. I think they're different in the way that they play the game, so it's not really an entire competition. But I just think when you're looking at it, right, and if Ceddanne continues to do what he does, it's going to be hard for the Red Sox to ignore it. Again, we're going to go in more detail about why tomorrow, but the decision is going to be you either keep 6 outfielders on your 26-man roster, which doesn't seem like a good idea. Even with Massa being a DH, right? He's still really only an outfielder. So you need to get rid of somebody if you're going to have, say, Don Rafael on the big league club. So that's why, in my opinion, I said, like, it would make sense if say Don took over center field, O'Neill went to right, and Duran went to left, and Abreu starts the year in Double-A because they don't lose anybody. What do you think will be the breaking point where the owners actually do something, or will that never happen? Um, I don't know what the breaking point will be. I think there's two options here. I think they either just flat up give up, which I think a lot of people are expecting, or they just get pissed, right? They get super mad that they are pretty much officially the laughing stock of the entire league right now in terms of at least ownerships. I wouldn't say they're the worst owners in this offseason in baseball, right? You've had all the stuff going on with the A's. You've had the stuff with the Angels. You know, they're worse owners in baseball right now. But in terms of like big market teams, yeah, people are laughing at this ownership. They're saying, look what you did to yourselves, idiots, right? And so do they finally break with this going on, or do they just retreat? Do they say, I give up, criticize me all you want, we'll try again in 25? I don't know. I mean, statistically, right? If we're talking about straight numbers, they give up. But I don't know. I want Willier back in AAA. Yeah, I don't know. Fans not showing up to Fenway. Even if the team sucks, you're gonna get fans. It's just how it goes. Especially with everything, you know, especially with every team playing every team now. You've got, you know, people already buying. I'm already buying Xander stuff. You know, I don't know. If Cron wins a bench spot, do you see the Red Sox finally trading Dahlbeck? I don't know. They might just DFA him. If they can't get anything for him, they might just DFA him. $5 super chat from Prodigy. We get some claps to the chat for Prodigy. Thank you so much, my friends. When is the earliest Giolito can come back? Do you think we possibly put York in a deal for a pitcher? Lastly, what do you think? What do you think we should do? I don't know. As for when Giolito can come back, if it really is a tear of the UCL, like that's probably going to require. I mean, there are other ways to try and heal it, right? But you're probably looking at a year. Do you think we could possibly put York in it? The problem with dealing for a pitcher right now is the same problem you have when you're trying to negotiate for Jordan Montgomery. Only this time, it's your colleagues, right? And if I'm an owner in what's up, TT? If I'm an owner in Major League Baseball, I'm sitting there, I'm saying, why would I help this team get better, right? Unless they blow me away, unless they significantly make my team better in the process, I'm not going to help them get better. That's just one less person I need to worry about this season. So no, I mean, he could technically be dealt for a pitcher, and I think at some point you need to really consider it, especially if Grissom does well when he comes back. But I just don't see. Chance, what are you talking about, dude? Sometimes, like, I don't know if you try to make jokes or something, but it doesn't really come through. Every single trade video I've had this year has had Nick York in it. Because I don't think he had, like, right now he's kind of blocked, especially with Von Grissom. So I don't know where you're getting that. Thank you again for your $5 donation, Prodigy. I really appreciate you. Do I think O'Neal's going to be good if he's healthy? Yeah, I think he could be really good. I think his back could play really well. I think there's a lot for him, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be asked about getting traded. Sometimes you're just unbelievably dramatic. He won Defensive Player of the Year at second base last year, Chance. Pay attention. Tito, if you're looking at wins to determine the value of a pitcher, you're not looking at the right statistics. You're just simply not. Wins are so reliant on the team around you. It's like saying it's like saying Tristan Casas sucked last year because the Red Sox only won 78 games. Right? What about his 5 ERA? The only argument I could have for his 5 ERA was that he's never been traded in his life. He was traded twice in a couple of months. He was going through a divorce, so off-field issues obviously played an effect, and he admitted that, right? And the other thing I would point to is that for 21 out of his, 33, 34 starts, he had a 3.7, right? People conveniently like to point to the Cleveland Guardians. Conveniently to the Cleveland Guardians stuff, right? But just refuse to admit that for 2/3 of the season, he was a really good pitcher. Last year. With Giolito out, the Sox are going to punt 2024. Don't expect them to give in to Boris. The focus turns 2025. Yeah, Tito, I'd assume you're not as attractive as Giolito or making as much money. The problem with that, Brent, is that teams know you need pitching, and they're going to ask for more than Durant for Snelling. How about an injury to Devers? Would that be the breaking point? The whole season would be over if Devers got injured. Devers is way too important. Yeah, Steven, I think this is a little bit. I'm sure she is, Tito. I'm just saying, like, you asked why you got a new model. He has a lot of money and he's a good-looking dude. Yeah, I'm sure it was pretty easy for him to find someone else, but that doesn't mean the divorce wasn't hard. That has nothing to do with the divorce. Yeah, exactly, Nate. The win-loss, judging a pitcher on the win-loss record is absurd. How are we supposed to make it out of the East, having the worst pitching staff in the division, arguably the worst offense? I don't think that's the worst. We have the worst offense. I don't think that's true, Marco. Again, Marco, I've said it before, but I think obviously our goal as fans is to win the division, and it should be, right? It should be the goal of ownership as well. But with the new playoff structure, right? I think the Mariners, whatever he was, GM, whatever you want to call it, said we're looking to get 85 wins because 85 wins now gets you in the playoffs. John. Yeah, sometimes the grass isn't always greener, Wade. You're right. He wasn't that good. Cut twice. Well, the first reason he was cut from the Angels because the Angels weren't competing and they wanted to somehow get rid of as much money as possible. So there's context to that one. He wasn't cut from the Guardians, I believe. He was never DFA'd from the Guardians. So he was cut once, traded twice. Right, so again, you can look at Lucas Giolito's win-loss record, or you can look at his ERA on the Indians, but that's not or the Guardians, excuse me, but that's not the whole picture of his entire season, right? That's just, yeah, like half of anyone who got picked up at the deadline for the Angels was traded. Wait, what, TT? 86 wins was the Diamondbacks in the World Series. How many games did Yeah. Diamondbacks did it. They were in the World Series last year. When the Sox ended, I don't really know what you're saying, TT, to be honest with you. Terrible deal by Breslow. Yeah, because Breslow totally knew that this is the other thing, too, is people are blaming Breslow for this. The dude was an absolute workhorse the entire last 5 years. No injuries. He hasn't had a significant injury since he was 18 years old. And you're going to sit there and you're going to say, oh, man, I can't believe Breslow didn't see this one coming. What's up, Gritty? Like, yeah. Of course, looking back on it, the deal doesn't look good. But at the time of the signing, you can't sit there and say they should have known this was going to happen. There's no way this was good. Like, no. I think they still have a chance, Manny. If the Pedroia conflict did anything, I'd be shocked. Yeah, that's a good point, John. He'll probably come back mid 2025, Tito. Especially if he gets it right now. Yeah, I agree, Chance. Dennis. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath to press, to be honest. 6-man rotation, yeah, sound like they might. Yeah, I agree, Steven. A lot of people were saying it's karma for the offseason. I think that's kind of Tito. Here's the other problem I have with people being like, it's all down the drain, 38. How could they do this? But then they complain about them not spending money. Like, pick a side. It's gonna if you spend money, you're gonna get burned sometimes. It's how it works, right? This is just a game of baseball. Just a game of baseball, right? At sometimes things are gonna go wrong. Sometimes things aren't gonna work out. You got to still spending money. You got to still spend that money because like, what do you suggest they do? Maddie, how would it have been worse if we signed Montgomery? What happened with Whitlock today? He was fine. He wasn't incredibly sharp. I still think bullpen's gonna implode. Interesting. Considering we haven't played a game yet, I don't know. I wouldn't be worried about that yet. Yeah, exactly, George. Robbie Hyde going on tonight? I have no idea. Chris Martin is on the team. Bam Bam. By the end of July, the bullpen will be blown. That's the problem, right? They're gonna need to get significant innings out of their bullpen now. You have to. At least they brought regular ketchup back. True, Jessica. When you sign long and heavy contract, you're paying for the first half of contract, in the second half. Yeah, things are gonna go wrong during a contract. It's either you deal with the things that go wrong, keep pushing forward, or you just give up and you don't spend any more money. And I don't think anyone wants to spend money. Thoughts on having our West Coast road trip first week of the season? I hate when they started out on one, it's bad for us because we got to watch the first games of the season at like 10:30 at night. But two, because it just like I don't know. That's just to already have to deal with time zones and stuff is ridiculous. I agree with that, Brendan. It's incredibly frustrating. They weren't going anywhere regardless. It's just not true. I genuinely like people think this team is just terrible. People think this team is terrible. It's not. That's a good point, Shooter. But it's not. I mean, it's not like you're going anything. I guess you're going a little bit luxurious, but like Seattle, I don't know. Yeah, Chance. I totally agree with that. I'm so sick of talking about it. Will you be streaming during those late games? I be here. Yeah, I'll be doing opening day for sure. And then if there's one on Wednesday that week, I'll do that one too. I like the thought that we got worse to me is Like, I just don't really understand it, right? Your pitching rotation didn't really change. You lost Kluber, so that's good, right? People have been complaining about Sale for years. You lost Sale. Okay, great. Your offense, in my opinion, has a higher ceiling than it did last year, and your bullpen's the same, right? So, realistically, you're about the same talent-wise as last year with a little bit of a higher ceiling, in my opinion, because your offense could be better. Yeah, not to mention our defense is incredibly better. The only way I see this team being worse last year or this year than they were last year is if they quite literally is if worst case scenario happens for all the pitchers, the starting rotation. If worst case happens to all the starting rotation, which is a possibility, they will be worse than last year. Yeah, but Chance, we also don't play the AL East as much, right? Like, we're so focused on the AL East. The rest of the AL, I mean, who got significantly better this off? The Royals, I think, got significantly better this offseason, but even they aren't fully put together yet. And you don't really know what you're going to get out of the young kids or the older guys in your rotation. Lost Sale. Yeah, you lost Sale, but Sale has made what? He made what? 15 starts for you last year, and then before that, 4 for the last 3 years, right? Expecting... I don't know. The whole hindsight on Sale thing is ridiculous because it's just like you were expecting Sale to be a number 1 starter the entire year. No, you weren't. Everyone said re-sign Big Maple too, AJ, but he already has a claw because he had elbow issues in his physical. You really willing to do that? How many games did our defense cost us last year? 2 main account, man. There were so many. Why are the Red Sox trying to get rid of him? They were trying to move salary. I don't know. It doesn't look like they're going to move him now. Hot take, man, everyone's like, I say this every year too, but Yankees got better. Soto's crazy. Yeah, Soto's going to be dangerous. Yeah, I got Tampa in last place too, actually. Honestly, I could see Tampa below 500 this year. Oh, for the love of Christ. I'm banning the word Bauer. I straight up am. I understand it's a baseball conversation, but I'm just so sick of talking about Trevor Bauer. Unbelievably sick with it. Yeah, agree, Logjammer. If the Red Sox had signed Big Maple and then it came out with the elbow, he would have been relied on to be at the top of this rotation. There's a big difference. Yeah, gee, it's a ironic time, huh? Yeah, agree, CW, and that's why they were able to sign him with the elbow injury, and I guarantee you that's a big reason why he ended up going to the Dodgers. Yeah, George, that's probably I would say 5 games is probably accurate. Yeah, Jeff, I think there is. I agree with that also, Chance. Yeah. The Orioles got their closer. Kimbrel's just sort of like a stopgap. I don't know how significant Kimbrel's going to be. I think in terms of the AL East, the biggest addition was Corbin Burns. I think that like elevates. I mean, that's a top 5 pitcher in Major League Baseball. That elevates the Orioles to an entirely different level and also gives them a guy who has ace playoff contention or experience, right? Yeah, it might be a good idea, Wade. I don't know. How many games is Grissom missing? Right now, he's still questionable for opening day. I would probably guess Grissom misses a couple of weeks. Could be chance. It depends on if they actually lock these guys up or not. With the new ownership, we just don't know. Do you think our rotation could go 5+ innings a game? You have to. They have to. That's an absurd thing to say, Brendan, considering Devers is the same age as Jarren Duran, right? Devers is still young himself. San Francisco did a better job than anyone thought they would this offseason. I agree with that. How much better do I see Bayo and Crawford? I mean, I think they get significantly better. The problem is they have to get more than significantly better this year, right? They do. They have to get more than significantly better this year, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I think we will see a significant bump in both of them, but by significant, I mean like Bayo was at like, what, a 4.24, I think, last year? Maybe a little bit less. I think he gets under 4 at like 3.8, 3.9. I think Cutter ends up being able to go deeper into games, but his ERA sticks in the low 4s, right? So what does that do? You know what I mean? I feel bad for Giolito. He's excited to have the chance to show his worth. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I wouldn't worry. And honestly, McGuire might not even make the team this year. Cora made it pretty clear that there's a fight going on for the backup spot. I think they're pretty much set in Wong. We talked about this last week a little bit, but I think this is specifically is going to be a battle to keep an eye on. You want Perez? What's his name? Is it Ronaldo Perez? No, that's not right. Roberto Perez. Is Crawford on number 2? I mean, right now it's probably Bayo, Pivetta, Crawford, Houck, Whitlock, I would guess. All right, so Brendan doesn't know what he's talking about. Perez seems better for a AAA veteran catcher. I agree with that. Just as much AAA depth as possible. If anything, the opportunity for the young up-and-coming players have a golden opportunity to make a name for themselves. Yeah, I mean, that is the silver lining for sure. I was happy for quitting my job today, and then this happens. My celebration was ruined. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. Well, congratulations on quitting your job, man. What happens if another starting pitcher gets hurt this spring? Brother, I don't know. I have no idea. It's going to be... yeah, it's going to be rough. I can't even, my mind is hurting trying to figure out what that would look like. I would say that's their prerogative, Steven. I think telling other fans how to root for their team, in my opinion, is something I would never do. Going to keep looking on the bright side. I'm excited to see Bayo this year, and I'm hoping Pivetta gets his flowers. Arrested Yoshi and tons of younger guys find their stride. Yeah, Keegan. Even with Giolito going down, I'm still not. Madison Bumgarner, right? I'm late. Did anyone else get injured? No, not yet. I'm not saying I'm optimistic about this team isn't the right word, because I think realistically, right, sort of mid-case scenario here, I guess I would say it'd probably be like 81, 82 wins. That's sort of what I'm thinking they end up with. But I'm not going to count it out that there is a possibility that for a month and a half they keep the 81, 82 win pace, but they win 80, 90% of their games, and all of a sudden they're up to 87. You know what I mean? Like, that's still a possibility. 100%. Especially if these guys take their big steps that we need them to in the rotation. What is the cutoff for you to call a season a disaster? I think I'll be fairly quick to call it a disaster, especially if we get to like May and they're already 10 games out. You know what I mean? You think it's 72 wins? You think they'll be so significantly worse than last year? How many games? 72. I don't think people understand how little 72 wins is. The Angels won one more game than that last year. The Angels won one more game than that last year. Like that's an absurdly low number. Right? That's an absurdly low number. I don't know about that. If Houck is in the starting rotation, that would mean 3 out of 5 of the stars would be homegrown. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Think Roman Anthony Teal will get the call up this season? Probably not. Is it significantly worse off than last year, though, Robbie? Like, legitimately, is it significantly worse off last year, right? The only parts of last year where you had a significantly better rotation was May, where you had Giolito, or where you had Paxton and Sale actually pitching like Paxton and Sale. Outside of that, it's pretty much the same rotation, right? Kluber was out for most of the year. Sale was out for most of the year. Paxton was out for most of the year, or completely a non-factor for the second half of the year, right? So it's essentially the same rotation. Any updates on Marcelo Mayer? Looks like he's good to go. People aren't accounting for the Bailey Magic. True. You don't see a single other person in this rotation making 20 starts, Robbie, even though Pavetta's done it for the last 3 years. How many starts did Cutter have last year? Cutter might have been close to that. And even with Houck going down, he might have had 20. 20 starts is a little bit of starts. What's up, Andrew? Yeah, man. Yeah, we're going to have to be getting Worcester quite a bit this season. I do want to... I do at some point this season want to get down to Worcester and get into the on-field stuff. Did I just click something? I feel like I just clicked something. All right, so I'm looking at Cutter Crawford's total pitches, because saying not a single other person in the rotation outside of Bayo is going to make 20 starts is a crazy claim. Yeah, Cutter had 23 starts. Pivetta had 30 and 33 in 22 and 21, 16 because he got bumped into the bullpen last year. Tanner Out got hit in the face with a fastball and still made 21 starts. You would need quite literally worst case scenario in every one of these for no one besides Bayo to make 20 starts, Robbie. To me, 20 starts is fairly easy to get. If you make a start every 10 days, you're getting close to 20 starts a season. Get Greinke or Hill. That seems like a great idea. Why are we so upset? We know Lucas was a project anyway. Now he's out for the year. The reason you're so upset is because you're losing so many innings. Houck has unreal bad luck last year. Yeah, Houck was. Justin Hageman's been good. Yeah, he has, man. Yeah, I know. I saw that. I gotta text his dad. Yeah, Pivetta getting hit in the face, and then he had the back surgery coming into the season. Yeah, if Houck could figure out a third pitch, and with that velo coming up this year too, there are reasons to be optimistic about every single person in this rotation. It's just a matter of whether or not they can actually put it together, right? I agree with that, Lawson. There's a difference between blank and blank will make 20 starts and blank will make and should make 20 starts. Not really, right? Will and should are pretty similar stuff here. And again, 20 starts isn't a crazy feat to behold. Who's going to become the closer once Jansen's traded? I don't know if Jansen gets traded at this point. Honestly, I don't know if he does. Why is Pivetta going back to starting and not doing the long reliever role? Well, that's probably because we need starters and not long relievers. Do you see this forcing us to consider? Yeah, they already are. Who was it? Was it Breslow in the press box today? Andrew, do you know? Breslow in the press box today or Cora this morning, who was talking about the 6-man rotation coming in? Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Andrew Parker does, what is it? Is it, I don't want to get it wrong. He goes, to the show we go. I know that. It was Breslow? Yeah. To the show we go is an incredible podcast that does, they have a prospect on every single podcast. They had a ton of great ones. They've had Anthony. They've had Blaze Jordan. They've had basically every minor league pitcher you can think of. And they do a great job interviewing them. So if you want to check that out, To the Show We Go is the podcast name. And then he also writes, I really don't want to mess it up. It's either Beyond or Behind the Monster. And I always get it wrong. It's Beyond the Monster, yeah. So if you want to check that out, he does minor league coverage. He does an absolutely fantastic job at that. We should pick up Lorenzen. Yeah, I think Lorenzen seems like a viable option at this point. Martinez closer stuff, yeah. We replaced Dave Bush with Andrew Bailey. We're better than last year. Pivetta did way better coming in the second inning and throwing 6 and starting through 5 and 6. It depends on what time of the year you're looking at, JB. And you just need you need starters, and having someone go every 5 days as an opener, as we saw last year, crushes your bullpen. So that's just not a good idea. He's got to figure out how to start the first inning. Another concern I have is Cora. It's pretty clear he wants out because of the roster. So I worry about the lame duck man. But I don't think Cora's not that type of guy to just I don't give a damn about this season at all. Right? I think he understands that he, and the big reason for that is because he makes a lot more money if he's good this year. If he can make this roster good, even competitive this year, he's going to make a lot more money. There's nothing beneficial to Alex Cora to having a crappy season, and so I don't think he's just going to give up. Luis Guerrero could be our closer in a few years. He could be our closer. Well, they got Hendricks for next year. He could be our closer. Yeah, we're going to probably do it after stream. So it'd probably be a couple of years, but yeah, Lawson, I could see Luis Guerrero, especially if he does well in AAA this year, which is probably where he'll start. No lefty starter just doesn't seem right to me. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? It's super weird. I thought it was strange that he didn't go out and pick up a lefty, but there really weren't. I mean, really the only 2 lefties available are Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. And if you're not going to pay for that, I guess you're going into the year without a lefty in the rotation. I agree, John. Yeah, Shane Drohan could at some point get returned. I don't know. It's just somewhat of a mess right now, chat. It's been a mess this entire offseason, but the Gio news is just, I mean, I don't know if you can get much better than that. The Tigers are better than the Red Sox. Hot take. Yeah, that is a bit of a hot take. Although they do have a better, if the rotation is what it could be, they could be better. Any news on Noah Song? He looked good today. He looked really good today, but he had a tough outing before. I don't really know where he'd start. Andrew, where do you think, if you're still in here, where do you think that Song would start? I would guess, where did he get to last year? High A? I would guess he would start in High A and try and make his way up to Double A. Depending on how he does, obviously. I always do. Drohan's on the White Sox. Double A rotation. Interesting. Did he make starts last year for the Phillies? No, I guess he started too. Oh no, he didn't start any games. Interesting in the rotation. I figured they'd just move him to the bullpen and hope. His expected FIP in his 2 outing, just 2 outing, 1.5 innings, but it's a 10.67. Is Bartolo Colon available? Hey, he's probably out there. It's kind of strange that you're allowing a Hard Knocks type show on your ball club and not spending any money on it. Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of strange. Red Sox offense top 10. I think they easily could be a top 10 offense in baseball. Red Sox offense gets on base and is great with guys in scoring position. Yeah, you too, Austin. Good seeing you, my friend. Yeah, they were what, 6th in the league last year? Bartolo coming back would be so funny. How long does Noah? I don't know if it'll be a quick promotion up to AAA. I mean, he made 1 inning in AAA. He only pitched 6 innings last year. I don't know if it's a quick jump, unless they're super confident in him. Bartolo can pinch hit too, yeah. Like 46 homers. Yeah. I mean, it is 46 homers. That's correct. But you're also, I mean, you're getting a healthy Trevor Story. You're getting, hopefully, a healthy Tyler O'Neill. And the two of those combined is probably 40-plus homers. Again, if healthy and if everything's going right. And then you get a second-year Casas, right? So we had 25 last year, I think, was the total. I think that could be more in the 30s. So there's another 7 or 8 homers. What is Grissom going to give you? Is he going to give you 10 or 15? Okay, great. That's way more than you got at second base last year. And then I'm going through the lineup in my head. Abreu. Can Abreu give you more home runs than Doogie did? All right, Robbie. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Due to the late hour in the off, when do you think Mayer will make his debut? It just depends on his health. If he stays healthy, you could see it, especially if the Red Sox suck in September this year. If not, sometime next year. Due to the late hour of the offseason, do you feel ownership may switch course because players may be unwilling to sign lesser deals in terms of both dollars and length of deal, opt-outs after year one? Do you mean they're going towards that or they're going away from that? With Giolito down, do you think the Red Sox will sign Montgomery or Snell Corbin? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I know, Scott. At some point, something's got to go right, right? At some point, something's got to go right. I don't know. Yeah, because, I mean, you look around, and maybe you don't make it up in 1 or 2 places, Tito, but I think you make it up over the entirety of the offense and then some, and I think that's why. Cutter Crawford will have a 2.54 ERA. All right, next person to say Bauer's getting muted. I'm so sick. They're getting put in timeout. I'm putting you in timeout for like 2 minutes if you say Bauer. I'm not gonna mute you permanently, but I'm gonna put you in timeout. I think Montgomery may be coming, plus Lorenzen and Clevenger. I hope it is. I think there's 2 Bowser. I think there's 2 options here. Either the Red Sox finally sit there and they say, all right, now we need him. Right? Or they go, all right, we're done. Jake Bauers. All right, so here we go. Who do you think will be the number 1 starter now? It's Bayo. It's always been Bayo, but it's definitely Bayo. Well, no one is signing these guys. Does this help the Red Sox? It could. But I don't know if it's going to help or hurt. There's no way this Giolito stuff helps the Red Sox. Can we talk about Nick York? Birdies are saying he's starting second base in Worcester this year, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting. Nick, what's he been doing this spring? He looks good at the plate, man. He looks like he belongs at the plate. I don't know if the results have come in. I don't think they have, but he looks like he's been there. Yeah, 154, 267, 154 slug. Yeah, I mean, the results haven't been there, but he looks good at the plate. He had Defensive Player of the Year last year. My question to you, Andrew, and I guess to everyone in chat, right, is where do you fit Nick York in? Two guys that Corbin has been higher on than most have impressed this offseason. Hey, sometimes Corbin knows what he's talking about. Once in a while, Corbin knows what he's talking about. But yeah, my question is if York starts the year at AAA and he continues to do what he did last year at the AA level with a 120 WRC plus, and he has that defense that he had last year at the AA level, where do you fit him in, right? Because I guess it would depend on I've never been super high on Jordan, though, Chance. Think they could move York to outfield? Interesting question. I saw that they were... Oh, no. What are we talking about with Urias? Can we... Jesus. Tonight's the night, signing during a live. Laser, we've been asking for that for weeks, man. I know it's going to come just sometime when I'm nowhere near my computer. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They've been playing him in the outfield and the backfields. They haven't been playing it during games. Cora said he's probably not going to get in during games, at least during spring training. So if he could get versatile in the outfield, but then you think about it, right? And you look at it and you say, okay, York is middle. The problem is basically everywhere right now is log jammed a bit. Even for guys like Mayer, Roman, Anthony, and Teal's the only one who's got a clear shot to the major league level, right? Teal doesn't really have any competition. He's clearly probably going to be better than Wong and McGuire. York, is he going to be better than what Grissom's going to be able to give you at second base? And if he isn't, but he's better than someone in the outfield, then maybe there's a path there. But you've also got 5 other guys on the roster competing for that outfield spot. And you've got Cedon Rafaela, and you've got Roman Anthony, and you've got Miguel Blaze as well, who's coming up over the next couple of years. So the question is, right, where do you fit him? And that, like, even with the outfield stuff, the only thing I think of is a utility bench bat. But even then, do you want him developing at the major league level as a utility bench bat, or do you want him as an everyday player in Worcester until you can either find a spot for him on your team or somewhere else for, a decent return? That's my question, Andrew, because there's just, like, even with the outfield versatility, does that give him enough of an edge to make a roster? Wouldn't it be weird, Corbin, if the Red Sox signed Monte on your live show? Yeah, it would be. It would be the widest range of emotions you've ever seen. We went from just abysmally down this morning in a video about Giolito to the happiest I've been the entire offseason. Yeah, I did, Madden. Very, very sad. Think they worry about his arm in the outfield too? I don't know much about, totally honest with you, I don't know much about Nick York's arm, right? Because, he's been a second baseman, so I haven't really, even looked into it. Blaze and York as bench bats, but even as bench bats, especially with a guy like Nick York, who over this offseason specifically with the new sort of marketing campaign, getting us used to the sort of big 3+ Nick York, right? It just, to me, it doesn't make a ton of sense from a Red Sox perspective, to go out there and just be like, yeah, that guy that we put out in front of you at winter weekend, the guy that we made you take pictures with, and blah, 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 he's going to be a once a week bat off the bench, which, if that is, what's up, Paul, is still a solid addition to a team. Don't get me wrong. There's a place for it on the Major League club. I think they want more out of Nick York before they resort to him just being a bench bat. If Hageman breaks out, you need to have on every prospect's dad. Yeah, true. I need to make it a series. I had to point out Jordan Montgomery only hits 92. Be careful what you wish for. Blake Snell, my guy. If your only reasoning for Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell over Jordan Montgomery is velocity, Tito, I think you need to do just a little bit more research. And now it's trading of how can Blaze Jordan to the White Sox. That would be nuts. For Dylan Cease, yeah, that's never going to happen. That would be crazy, though, Mike. Did I say what's up, Paul? I think I did. I forget. Pablo Reyes has a career ERA of 0. Have you not considered him the ace? It's a good point. He does have the statistical backups. Blake Snell has 2 Cy Youngs. Okay, so the extent of your research is Cy Youngs and velocity. Is that right, Tito? Because here's my argument for Jordan Montgomery, right? Okay, fine, velocity, yeah, whatever. I mean, there have been very, very impressive pitchers who don't. There have been very impressive pitchers who don't have 100 miles an hour in the tank, right? I mean, Chris Sale didn't need. I mean, he could, right? Chris Sale pumped it up to 100 when he needed to. But he didn't need 100 miles an hour to get people out. Here's my reasoning for why I want Jordan Montgomery more. 2021, 383, 30 starts. 2022, 348, 32 starts. 2023, 320, 32 starts. Right? So if you're looking at the next 5 years, if you were to sign Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery for the next 5 years, each of them, the upside with Snell is higher, right? The ceiling that we could get to with Blake Snell in terms of an individual pitcher is higher. But the median line where both these pitchers are going to sit, especially as they get older, Blake Snell doesn't throw as many innings. Blake Snell doesn't make it as many starts. Blake Snell isn't as consistent as Jordan Montgomery has been over the last 3 years. And Blake Snell has dealt with more injuries. So if you're looking at the future here and you're looking at what sort of the middle ground, right? Because this is Blake Snell at his peak. This is probably Jordan Montgomery at his peak. Where do they flatten out to? What's this right here? I think you're looking at this a little bit with Montgomery a little bit higher than Blake Snell. And Montgomery also fits the needs a little bit more. He fits the needs a little bit more. Thanks for coming by, Tracy. I appreciate it. In keeping with the obvious, sign Monty. In addition to that, can we make a tweak to the bench for trade and by trading for Drury? Neither the lefty in the pen, Joely Rodriguez not moving the needle. Yeah, you've got options for the lefty in the pen. You've got Walter, you've got Murphy, who came off. It looked like with a blister today. Jordan Montgomery is Nick Pivetta, but at $25 million a year. Oh, Tito, dude. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to compare, because Tito believes that Jordan Montgomery is Nick Pivetta, but worth $25 million. Let's play this game. Nick Pivetta, career ERA, 4.86. Jordan Montgomery, 3.68. ERA plus, Nick Pivetta, 90. Jordan Montgomery, 116. Strikeouts. We will give 2. Nick Pivetta at 25.5. Jordan Montgomery at 22.5. Walk rate. Jordan Montgomery, 6.6. WAR, 8.2. Nick Pivetta. Jordan Montgomery, 12.5. Right, so I don't know. And on top of that, too, you probably, honestly, Nick Pivetta does well this year. He's probably going to get $25 million next year, realistically. Grant Gamble reminds me of Greg Maddux. I don't know a whole lot about Grant Gamble, to be honest with you. Oops. Gambrel, not Gamble. What did I say? Sometimes I confuse myself, man. He was good last year, man. Wow. Between 3 levels, 3.63 ERA and 23 starts, 1.259 whip isn't fantastic, but still striking out 9.5 per 9, 3.3 walks per 9. And this guy's pretty good, huh? Bridge year. Oh, hello, Eric. Postseason production too, also a good point. Yeah, but Pivetta way cheaper. Not if Pivetta hits the free agent market. All right, Dennis. Have a good night, my friend. Are you hoping for a regular season pitcher? Who do you want? Are you hoping for a regular season pitcher? Who do you want starting the playoffs? Wait, like of any pitcher in Major League Baseball? It seems like Pivetta was so much better in the pen. It's too bad they need him starting. I think Pivetta needed to correct himself in the pen. I think he can be a good starter. And we saw what we saw from Pivetta. Like, people forget the last month of the season, Nick Pivetta was an entirely different pitcher than what we saw. Because the Red Sox were so bad in September, we just completely forget that there were still good parts of that. And one of those good parts was what Nick Pivetta was going to be doing. Are we crying yet or still at anger? I think we're more in. I'm just sort of in denial, right? Like, if I don't acknowledge it, we just talk about the good things, it didn't really happen. Like, Pivetta in 5 starts in September and October at a 2.43 ERA with a 0.81 WHIP and an 11.6 K per nine. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's not like he got lucky. It's not like he made some crazy change. He just added something to his slider. That's it. He just added something to his slider, right? Which hypothetically, if you're talking about it, could be carried over to next year. I'm in the picking an NPB team to watch stage. Yeah. I'm in the copium stage. Yeah. Get JD, get some match doubles. At this point, if you're going to get anyone, it has to be on the pitching side, man. Rafael on the opening day roster. I'm actually talking about that tomorrow too, Eric, but I'm at the point now with Rafaela where I was convinced that because of off-season acquisitions and because of comments made going into spring that he was definitely starting the year in AAA to work on his pitch discipline or his swing decisions realistically more than his plate discipline, right? But the more I think about it, especially if he continues to do what he's doing in spring training so far, which is essentially walking once for every strikeout he has, with the defense he can give you, it's going to be so hard to ignore what he could do to the major league club in terms of just how dynamic of an athlete he is. I don't know, man. It's a tough decision because there's also, I don't want to spoil the whole video, but there is a, if you keep him down in the minor leagues for a certain period of time next year, or going into this season, you get an entire full year of Rafael in terms of control. So that's another big part of this too. It might not even matter how good he is. Call it Michael Fulmer when he's healthy, maybe. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Got a little bit of acid reflux tonight, chat. Might be TMI, but whatever. You guys are in here with me. So it might not even matter how good Rafael is this spring. If they want that extra year of control, they don't have to wait too long. And again, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. But yeah, they only have to wait like a month or two. Missed the boat on dealing for Luzardo. Much needed now and matches up well with the teams in the future. I agree. The problem is, Keith, you would need one of your top 3 guys most likely to get Luzardo. Right? If you were going to go for a Luzardo, you'd probably need one of the top 3. And which one are you doing? Could I see CJ Cron making the roster? Yeah, I don't think they have a whole lot of faith in Bobby Dahlbeck, to be honest with you. I really don't. Like, signing CJ to me, especially on a minor league deal with that opt-out 5 days before, it just sort of sounds like they just don't have faith in Bobby. JD, no, I don't think it was the money, George. He just didn't want to play in San Francisco. Which, from what I've heard about the state of San Francisco right now, in terms of just like cleanliness, I would never trade the big 3. That'd be dumb. I don't know about dumb. I wish we kept Mookie. Then we'd still be good. Yeah, I mean, yes. right? Mookie's an unbelievable talent, but Mookie can't exactly pitch. You know what I mean? So we would just be. It's a big four. I know, Chance, but you need to let Blaze. You need to let Blaze settle back in before we hype him back up. You know what I mean? We need to let him get his. We need to let him get his feet under him. I don't know why I just did that, but we need to get him. We need to let him get his feet under him before we start putting him in the big four again. Bowling's almost like pitching. Yeah, if you could underhand it, maybe. He would still have hair. I think Pablo Reyes is very, very underrated, and he's very good. He just needs a bit more consistent. Pretty soon it'll be the big one. Huh. Mookie's hair is atrocious. Oh my God, Jesus. Let the man be. You know how common? I'm terrified of balding, to be honest with you. That's my biggest fear. Oh, meaning he'll be the best in baseball. Miguel Blaze, that'd be crazy. He could have a big year. I think Miguel Blaze, Yoel Cespedes, and Nizan Zanatello join the top 100 list at some point this season. Mookie makes me scared of it too. I mean, come on. I thought Mookie looked good bald. I don't know. Trade the whole farm for Hunter Green. Oh man, we're now. See, this is where we're at the point of delusion. Yeah, man. I thought Mookie looked good bald. I didn't realize it was a point of contention with people. I'm just gonna look up Mookie Betts' head. Mookie was bald with the Red Sox. What are we talking about here? What happened to Mikey Romero? He's just been injured, man. He's been injured so much. Mookie's got a weird head. Mookie looks good bald. I have people like, yeah, this is a dude that just rocks the bald head. Yeah, I do, Christian. Good time. Would I trade Devers for Mookie? How much is he making? Let me get the exact dollar amount here. I don't know, man. Yeah, I might. 199 super chat from Terrence. No message attached, but thank you so much, Terrence. Thank you so much. We had a classic chat for Terrence for his generous $2 donation. I appreciate you so much, Terrence. Thank you. Michael B. Jordan if he was bald. That's actually kind of a good comparison. Marcelo Mayer expected debut in 24. Roman Anthony expected in 25 per sources. Do you mean MLB Pipeline? What say ye of this? I would say, yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. I could see Roman Anthony really surprising people and getting in this year, though. To be honest with you. They started him off early in games at spring training. I think they just wanted to see what he was, what his mentality was for these big league games, and he impressed a lot of people, so. Don't you dare say yes to Mookie for Devers. He's not worth it. He's like 31. Dude, I don't know. Because, I mean, realistically, you probably got Mookie going to second base allows you to keep him on the field for at least another 5 years, right? Devers is going to be on the field for another 5 years. They're both probably going to move to DH around the same time point in terms of years-wise. And then who do you trust to age better in terms of hit? I mean, I'll put it this way. Mookie is a bona fide Hall of Famer. Devers is a potential Hall of Famer. Right? Which one do you take more? The bona fide Hall of Famer or the potential Hall of Famer? Okay, Mike. John Henry just told Brezzo to get his glove and stretch out. Imagine. First player CBO. The Verdugo trade was a great deal. Got a sidewinder, a potential rotation workhorse, and a potential good pitcher in the wings. I agree. I still like the Verdugo trade. I would do it again, even after everything this offseason. I would do it again. It sucks that it was with the Yankees, but I would do it again. Mookie Betts' 2018 was so disgusting. It's ridiculous. Every time I look at it. Why did Dave Dombrowski leave? My guess would be that they did not like the extensions he was giving out, and he was like, all right, I'm good. We'll mutually decide to part ways. At least we have Dave O'Brien to look forward to in the booth. Whoop-de-whoop. Youkilis to me, Youkilis is my favorite player. Youkilis was my favorite player growing up. I still have his autograph card up there. It was the one card I was able to keep. Man. I hope he grows a little bit more in the booth this year. I still like him in the booth, but at times last year I was like, okay, Uke, buddy, listen. I'm not mad at anybody, no. Whatever happened to Mike Monaco, I just think he's doing the same thing. It's not Scott Barlow. What's up, unknown? Do I have a Youkilis jersey? Not one that fits anymore. I'm sure I have one in my house. My mom would never buy me jerseys because she said I would ruin them. And back then you couldn't get DHgate jerseys, so I'd end up with jerseys. So I had a jersey. I remember very specifically. I had a lineup of jerseys that I would wear, shirt jerseys that I would wear on a weekly basis during Red Sox season. It was Papelbon, Dice K, Schilling, Lowell, Youkilis, and I don't think I ever had a Pedroia, but I had a Coco Crisp. Yeah, I think that was my lineup. Was that 7? Papelbon, Schilling, Dice K, Lowell, Uke, and Coco Crisp. I think that was 7. I don't believe it, Jeffrey. Yeah, jerseys used to be the way to go because my mom said I would ruin all my jerseys, so she would buy me jerseys instead, and I was always so mad. I'm gonna head out, Corbin. All right, Clip. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Thank you so much. A jersey pillow, that's pretty sweet. Pedro, Poppy, and Damon. That was a popular jersey. I used to be so jealous of this one kid who had a Ted Williams jerseys. And I was like, man, that guy knows what's up. There was just this one kid in my grade. I don't know where he got it, but it was like this limited edition Ted Williams jersey that he got at like Dick's Sporting Goods or something. I don't know. And I remember being so jealous of that guy. And my mom being like, I'm not buying you a $40 jersey. You don't think that this lineup today will win more than 70 games? Yeah, I do. I think they'll win more than 70. Jeffrey, I'm honestly willing to bet my life that they win more than 70 games. I will give you my channel if they win less than 70 games. And in return, if they win more than 70 games this season, Jeffrey, you are not allowed to say another negative thing about the Red Sox. At least on this channel. Any more than 70 games. Thoughts? Kind of velo do I have? I had 61. I had 61 this spring training. How much longer will Dave O'Brien be in the booth for? I think he's signing on the deal. All donations good. Their YouTube, this guy, Steven Molnu, had 900. He doesn't waste his time with $1 donations? Well, that's ridiculous. Yeah, he should be exposed then. I don't know. Tito, are you saying you donated and I just missed it? If that is true, I truly don't mean to. That was Terrence. No, yeah, I don't see anything. It might be my time. I heard I touched double digits. Oh yeah. ESPN said the Red Sox will have a breakout year in 24. What do you say about that, Corbin? It's gonna be a lot more difficult with Lucas Giolito out. I still think it's possible. 150 wins. 150 wins, and I am back in on this team. Oh, that's brutal. Hey, at least you still got the membership. I think I still can't gift for some reason. It doesn't let me gift memberships. I don't remember how to do that, to be honest with you. Favorite MLB jerseys besides the Red Sox? Cardinals. After Costas shaved the beard. Hello, Wes. Hey, hey, Corbin, just saw the live feed. Any chance they sign Monty? I wouldn't say no chance. I'm not. You're good. I mess up the emails. Rip. I'll log into the account for the membership lives. Yeah, that's a good idea. We got to figure out when we're going to do ours this year or this month. A $2 super chat from Laser. Thank you so much. His first super chat. Can we get some claps in the chat for him, please? Thank you so much, Laser. He says, Corbin, Furness, and Booth. I don't know how good I'd be at calling games. The best part about YouTube is that if I mess up, I can just cut it out, right? The live streams are probably the closest I get to it. And even the live streams, I'm like, right? All right, I'll take a look, Tito. So that's why I think I'll stay on YouTube. But hey, man, if someone offered me a Red Sox booth job, of course I'm not saying no to that. I'd be able to travel with the team. That's all I'd really care about, man. I'd just be so pumped. I'd just be so pumped to travel with the team. That's all I'd care about. It definitely is. It's the easiest, but also the most challenging chance because there's so much dead time, right? That you're going to need to fill with either stories or legitimate analysis, or there's so many different things that you need to be able to fill your time with. It could be. Wes, I had an idea for that, and it was going to come together, and it was going to be sweet. I had called a lot of sports in high school. I did a couple of games in high school. I did basketball, and I was not. Yeah, I know. I saw that, Dill. I heard that. I didn't know if anyone else picked up on that, so I thought it was just like, I don't know, just something. I appreciate that, Chris. Thanks, man. Yeah, I wanted to switch it up, get a little bit more professional for the 2024 season, and I think it worked out well. Will I be going to the home opener? Let me see. I think last year I did the home. They opened at home, right? They opened at home last year. Whitlock's fine. Duran's fine. All right, Tito. Have a good one, man. Thanks for coming by. What am I looking up? Oh. So we're definitely going live for the first Red Sox game of the year, which is at 10 o'clock at night. Last year we did a little bit earlier than that. We did like an hour before the game, I think, and then we did into the game. This year I think we'll do something similar where we'll start at like 9 and the game will come on at 10 and then we'll watch the game together. But the home opener is the home opener, that's brutal. It's Can I just look at a big version of this, please? Thank you. What? I don't want the spring training schedule. This is unbelievable. Oh, there we go. Yeah, home openers on a Tuesday, which might be a little bit difficult for me to stream. So we might not do that. We might have to do Thursday that week because I'll probably go to the game at 7:10. I don't know. I might just go to the first weekend. I don't know. I'm all over the place, man. Am I going to go live on Wednesdays like last season? Yeah, I'm thinking Wednesdays. Probably Wednesdays. Either that or Thursdays, one of the two. I think Wednesdays make more sense. I don't mind it gritty. It's the best way for me to be able to watch games because I don't have cable. So I use NES and 360. So I don't mind NES Plus, but I wouldn't like if you have cable, you're not really missing a whole lot. If you were on the call when he farted, or you call him out, say I have to stay silent. I would have to mute my mic because it would just be so funny. Who actually has it? Yeah, I have it because it's a business expense, right? Because I need to be able to see every single game in order to make content. So I have NES and 360. I don't know if I would have NES and 360 without it. Yeah, the Red Sox classic games, that is one thing. You can watch the classic games on there, which is always fun. Bingo, Joey. What's the major difference? Honestly, I really don't know. Will the Red Sox sign anyone else? Yeah, I mean, honestly, Eric, I think they do, or they should, at the bare minimum, get someone to cover at least some of the innings you're losing with Giolito, whether that is a guy like Montgomery or a guy like Lorenzen. I think, you need to do one of the two. But yeah, I do think they bring someone else in, Eric. Yes. I just don't know to what extent that impact's going to be. $5 super chat from Mr. Money Mike Madness. Quit some claps to chat for Mr. Money Mike, please. Always unbelievably generous. He said in a few Saturdays there is a Division III championship game in Connecticut. I'm planning on going by train or car. If you're free, would I go? In a few Saturdays, it would. Unfortunately, I have weddings the last 2 weekends of March that I'm going to. And then in April, baseball season starts. So I'm at Fenway a couple of times. I don't know. And plus, Mike, the only concern I have with that is travel. I don't know how I would get there. My car is not working right now. And I don't know if I could just take my girlfriend's car for an entire for an entire weekend without her being able to come. So probably not, Mike, but I really do appreciate the invite. It means a lot to me. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to work out logistically for me, which sucks. But I do appreciate the invite, and I appreciate you donating. As always, you're the man. I appreciate you. Did you see any Yamamoto's highlights? Guy is going to be a game changer. Yeah, he's going to be nuts. Guests are just waiting party. Just guessed. Bring her. I don't know. She doesn't love hockey, so I don't know if that'll be. I don't know if that'll be worth the trip for her, and I don't know if she'll like me to use her car for the entire weekend. But again, I really do. I do appreciate the invite a lot, Mike. That means a lot to me. Will I be at Fenway on the day of the home opener? No, probably not. I'll probably go that weekend. If it's a Tuesday, my first game will probably be that weekend, depending on again what the wedding schedule looks like and whatnot. I'm not in, but I'm going to a ton of weddings the next couple of months. Who's the next former Dodger we're gonna sign? Did JD? JD's the only one left, I think, right? I believe, right? Is he the only one left? Maybe we could snag a starter from the A's if they have anyone. Who was that? Chance last weekend said that. The A's rotation, I mean, it's obviously not good, but is it really that bad? Rich Hill is left. True, we could do Rich Hill. I would be interested in. I would be at least interested in JP Sears. I'd at least be interested in him. We could just sign Bueller next year. True. Do you think Henry is waiting to spend money until established core is in place because of this? Assuming the prospects core is very, very good, they bring in big names to build a super team. I think it's possible, Foxborough. My only problem with that is, and I don't know if you were here earlier or not, but I'm assuming you aren't because you asked the question. My problem with that is even when they do decide to, if they do decide to spend, right, it's going to be tough to just take this team from, okay, they have a good core to their World Series contenders in one offseason. It's going to be almost impossible, to be honest with you, because realistically, you've got going into the free agency in 25, you've got a ton of really interesting names, but what are the odds in terms of starting pitching? They're going to be able to get two of those big name guys, two of them. Right, it's happened before. We saw it with the Rangers in Simeon and Corey Seager. But starting pitching is going to be a much more competitive market than a position player is, because for the most part, your positional pieces are locked in for a little bit. If you're a contending team, right? On the pitching side of thing, usually you have one guy locked in, and then you got a little bit of different. You got a little bit of movement. So every contending team's going to be looking to add pitching. So those markets are going to be insanely competitive. So even, yes, I do think that's their plan, but I also think it's stupid to wait until you have all the pieces in place and expect to just be able to do it overnight. And I hope that's not what they're trying to do. I feel like we have a solid team, but I don't think we have any MVP caliber player on the team. I don't think you're entirely wrong. I think Devers, like, what did Devers in 2020, what was that, 2021 where he had that crazy season? Rafi finished top 10. I mean, it's going to take a lot for Devers to win an MVP. No, it was 2021 was the year I was thinking. 134 OPS plus. How did he not win the Silver Slugger in 22? Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it'd be tough. I think it's going to be tough for anyone on this team. The only one I could think of, even Tristan Casas, he would have to be an above average, well above average first baseman and have to do like Freddie Freeman type stuff. And those to me are your two best players. I think Jarren Duran has the tools, and this is going to sound ridiculous, has the tools to win an MVP. I just don't think he'll ever actually get there. Yeah, I don't even know. You know what the weird thing is what was the MVP voting last year? Like, the Orioles were the best team in the AL East. How many? Yeah, so they had Adley and Gunnar in the top 10, but I mean, really not close to even top 5 in terms of voting percentages. Gunnar had 77 vote points. Top 5 had 178. So you're 100. But my point is you don't necessarily need a top MVP guy to be a successful team, right? That's sort of my point here. Yeah, the Vegas A's Stadium looks pretty cool. The bullpen would be Winkowski, Murphy, Bernardino, Martin, Whitlock, and Kenley. No, there'd be more than that. What is it? 9. There's 26-man roster, right? So it'd be 9, 10... 9, 13, 5 is 18. So, yeah, I guess it would be Whitlock, Murphy, Bernardino, Martin, Whitlock. Yeah, that's what I would guess is what it would look like right now. Slayton. Yeah, maybe Slayton's in there too. Maybe go 3 bench bats, not 4. They put Slayton in there. Campbell. Yeah, where are they going to fit all these guys? Right, because they need a 26-man roster. You get, I guess it would be 8 players. Plus 3 on the bench is 11. Plus 5 in the rotation is 17 or 16. And then 7 bullpen arms. So, yeah, I guess right now Whitlock would be in the rotation. So you'd have Wink, Murphy, Bernardino, Martin, Kenley's 5. So, yeah, then it's probably Slayton Campbell. I would keep Criswell. I would keep Cooper Criswell in AAA. Can you do that? Can we tell people? Hey, Andrew, I did ban a guy for saying some bad stuff about Joe Jake. So I'm putting in God's work over here. Criswell's on a major league deal, right? Yeah, he is. You know what? Baseball Reference just needs to add one little line with the options. Cooper Criswell. Yeah, perfect. Oh, did he come up? Oh, my God, he did. He still is an option. So I would say if they're looking, especially with Giolito going down, I would say Cooper Criswell starts the year in AAA as a starter, as depth. That's the only thing I can think of. He's done pretty good in spring training so far, albeit 4 innings. And as much as I'm a big fan of Joe Jakes, and as much as I don't want to upset Andrew Parker here, heaven forbid, I will say things have not gone as smoothly as we would have hoped for Joe Jake so far this spring training. If Marcelo debuts, he's Rookie of the Year. He would have to debut super early, and I don't think he's going to be up that early. It really does seem like everyone in the know thinks, well, yeah, I think most people, I agree with you, Chance, but Alex Cora also this morning, was it this morning? Yeah, this morning said that no, Whitlock will be on the Major League club. So that's interesting to me. In all honesty, I think there might be I don't want to say this and be wrong and for people to be like, you're an idiot, but I think there might be a legitimate chance Whitlock ends up in the pen and Winkowski ends up in the rotation. Could we say things about Ort? I got no grievances against protecting Ort, so whatever you want to do, Joey. Yeah, it kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say it because, but man, Wink's impressing a lot of people, it seems like, early down there. It would also drive Carabas nuts if Wink was in the rotation, and I would kind of love that. He's had 2 starts, 4.5 innings. Wink has a 1.93 ERA. I mean, obviously this is 4 2/3 innings, so it's tough to even look at that. So what I'm gonna look at instead is a 5.79 strikeouts per 9. Not great. 199 super chat from Trevor. What's going on, my friend? He says, what's this Durant thing about? He just got pulled because he had some ankle soreness or tightness, one of the two. And then they took him off. They did a little massaging. They did a little stretching. And he's good to go. Think we're getting anyone outside the organization pitching-wise? In my opinion, and this is just pure speculation, yes, I do think that they get someone outside the rotation. What the impact of that is going to look like, I don't know. Caleb Ort was a weird guy in the locker room last year, almost more weird than Matt Dermody, and that's bad. Yeah, that's don't love hearing that. Don't love hearing that. Yeah, Caleb. Oh, Caleb. I can't believe Caleb Ort got as many innings at the major league level. Like, you just look back and think about the 2023 season, even the 2022 season. How are we at a point where Caleb Ort? How are we at a point where Caleb Ort got that many innings at the major league level? Like, what are we doing, man? Yeah, it's because of his velo. He rarely touched 100. Like, rarely. How many times did he touch 100 at the major league level? Once the entire year? I don't even know. And you do like the stuff you hear about him in the locker room with Andrew talking about it here. You got, the whole saga with Carabas and everything, man. I just sometimes you look back on it. How long to get Corey Kluber back in playing shape? I don't know, a few weeks. Will we see Pablo? Will we see Pablo Reyes back on the mound when the bullpen is completely worn out like last season? That wasn't because the bullpen was worn out. That's because we were getting cooked. Bible study soon. Sounds good, Steven. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Did I watch the Patriots documentary? I did not. Honestly, I don't know. I lived. It's so weird because that was like my prime sports fandom. So like a lot of the stuff I've seen at least clips of, I've had an understanding of before. I don't know. Plus, I don't have Apple TV, so I have to get Apple TV. So I don't know. Operation Not Run Like a Lizard seems to have some hiccups. Yeah, that's essentially what it is. That's essentially what it is, man. I'm telling you, Chad. Next week, we are not gonna be able to say the word Bauer in this chat. I think. Yeah, I genuinely, the not run like a lizard thing is super funny to me. I think I cannot pronounce this guy's last name for the life of me. Lutige, Lukey, I can't say it. Some of these some words, man, I just have such a trouble pronouncing, and this is one of them. Liuch. Yeah, Chance. I was expecting that too. Liuch. That's what I'm going with. Liuch or Rodriguez will be the second left-hander. Joely, was so bad last year, but it was because he was injured. If he's healthy, Liuch. I thought it was Ludge too. Ludge? Oh, man. And I feel terrible because I should, like, as someone who makes Red Sox content on, I would say more than a part-time basis, I should be able to get their names right. Like, that should be something I do as just someone who makes content. And I have Lawson, and it's just all over the place. Like last year, he only had 11 innings at the big league level. Which is crazy. He had more innings at the minor league level. He had a 1/3 more innings at the minor league level, but still, that's wild. So the Red Sox trade for Clark Schmidt. Loot K equals Loot Key. Okay, I feel like you guys are just throwing me off now. Yeah, and he was good in 22. I wouldn't say good, but he was fine in 22. He was really good in 16 and 2020. I don't know. Yeah, I saw Chris Paul has a chance to make the rotation. In my opinion, Chris Paul starts the year in AAA and is just sort of depth. They have options, so he can be optioned. Or he has a option, so he can be optioned, which is why I think he starts the year at AAA. Definitely not Thor. Either that or they go with a 6-man rotation and use him more as like a 3 to 4 inning type opener. I don't know. Trade for Schmidt. Clark Schmidt, they're just not going to. Let's see, with the Padres now? No, he's still with the Yankees, right? Yeah. The curse of Mookie Betts is on. That'd be crazy. So I'm unable to discuss the hero of 24. Who's the hero of 24? Excuse me, Ted. We only got a couple of minutes here. I'm getting tired. Still got to work out. which is really just walking right now. The curse of Mookie is real. Kind of feels like it, doesn't it? Montgomery or Lorenzen, only option. Smith is on the Yankees still. Yeah, I feel like it's Montgomery or Lorenzen. It's probably a Lorenzen. Did someone say Edward Cabrera? If they could get, man. Chance, don't get me started. You know what I feel like on Edward Cabrera. I mean, look at this dude. People. We're going on a rant, chat. We're going on a rant. You're coming with me. Actually, do I have another tab open? Yeah, I do. Look at this 2023 Baseball Savant page. If he just figures out his walks, look at that. Every single other statistic is above average. Every single one of them. Every single other statistic. He had one of the best off-speed run values in the entire sport last year. If you could figure that out, he's an ace. I mean, he's not an ace. He's a number one. He's a number one. I mean, come on. What was his off speed? It was the changeup. What was his changeup getting hit at last year? I can't really see it. A 186 average with a 300 slug, and then his fastball was a 214 average with a 370 slug, and then his curveball was a 240 with a 380 slug. His only problems really were a sinker and a slider. And guess what Andrew Bailey's really good at doing? Fixing sinker and slider. I'm just saying. People poo-poo it, man. People poo-poo the idea of Edward Cabrera. I'd be excited if they got him. I'd be excited. Sue me. What does Baez look like? Not as good. You know, I was thinking that too, Chance. I think Pedro still got some juice. I don't know. Watch us trade for Alek Manoah. Yeah, I could see it. That would suck so bad. I hate Alek Manoah. I truly do. All right, chat. I appreciate you being here tonight. I think we've gotten our sort of feelings out about the Giolito thing. You could still go rant on my comment section if you want. I think we've talked about sort of what the next steps look like. It's because they're holding out for more money than owners want to give them, Benji. Or at least Boris is. I feel like we've talked about what next steps could look like for Lucas, or the absence of Lucas Giolito. Red seat for life. I love that. I think we've covered most of spring training. Braxton Garrett, that'd be incredible, but that'd be so expensive, especially with the Giolito injury. Yeah, I think we've covered just about everything tonight, Chad. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, please feel free to let me know. But either way, I appreciate you being here. A lot of you guys were here the entire 2 hours, which is extremely impressive. In a couple of weeks, we'll be doing 3-hour live streams. In a couple of weeks, we'll be doing 3-hour live streams, which will be pretty nice because we'll be doing a full game. And it's going to be nice getting back into that schedule. 162 coming right up. Good or bad, we'll be here. Good or bad, we will be here. But either way, again, I appreciate it. Talk about membership. Sure, if you want more out of these live streams than you are getting already, I think the ideal way to do that is to become a member of this channel. You get an extra live stream once a month. You get personalized emotes every single time you can use it. We've got, as a member, you've got pregame analysis as well as bets. If any of you guys are into sports betting, what I'm betting on the Red Sox that day, you get all of that for becoming a member of this channel. And you're going to be getting a little bit more, too, this season. Possibly some videos early. Possibly some members-only videos in total. There's going to be a lot going on. So if you want more out of Red Seat Radio, take a look at that, becoming a member today. It really is a pretty cool opportunity. I think I've made the most out of what the membership could be, and it's only going to get better over the next couple of months. So, interesting thing to think about there. If you guys are interested in some Red Sea merch, I got a link for that as well. Looks just like this. You can rep a Red Seat hat. If you're against the Red Sox, you want to boycott the Red Sox, this is your perfect way to do it. This is to say, hey, I'm still a Red Sox fan, but yeah, I'm not buying Red Sox merch this year. Just saying. Either way, again, I really appreciate you guys being here. These lives are one of my favorite things to do, good or bad. It's a ton of fun. So if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button. Still on the road to 10,000. Hoping to get there before opening day. We will see. I think it's possible, especially with you guys keep killing it. As always, thank you all very much for being here. And I will see you all in the Red Sox.